is our first top producer panel. So we're going to give some of the newer agents a chance to ask some of our existing team members, some of the veterans, some of the top producing agents, a little bit more about some of the things that they do, some of their best practices. So before I actually open it up to questions, and I'm going to try to talk as little as possible today, which is hard for me. So it's hard for me to not talk, but I'm going to try my best. Before I do that, and while we wait for everyone to call in, I want to talk about something that I think is really interesting as far as what's happening in the realtor community. So this is really interesting. In 2021, realtors stand to make over $100 billion in real estate commissions.
Oh, really?
100 billion. In 2020, it was 90 billion. Holy moly.
Big difference.
So, big difference. It's a $10 billion difference. I also want to say that it's double what we earned in 2002. So let me make you guys muted. So the reason why I think that's so interesting is because we are earning more than ever. We are on the way in 2021 to completing 7 million transactions. And so the reason why this is so interesting is because we all have an opportunity to earn an incredible amount. So what that tells me is that in 2021, we are doubling what we did in 2002, as far as how many commissions we're earning. All of this is really important because at the same time, I don't know, have you guys seen what's happening with the Department of Justice and realtor commissions? So if you haven't, let me inform you that there is some pressure right now that realtors are earning too much. There are some issues as far as how we earn. The issues are that sellers are the ones that pay commissions and the buyers have representation. So this is something that I think all of us know, it being in the realtor community, that when you work with a buyer, the buyer is not the one that pays you, right? The seller is. And so the Department of Justice is currently in a big lawsuit with the National Association of Realtors. Now, the National Association of Realtors, the National Association of Realtors is a pretty big lobby. And so they settled, and then all of a sudden last week, the Department of Justice said, no, we're not going to accept your settlement. We are going to continue in court. And what that means is it's very possible that there may be some changes to how we get paid. So when I heard that, I thought to myself, wow, that's crazy, number one. Number two, I also thought to myself, let's earn as much as we can now until they make some changes.
Exactly.
Right? The other thing that I thought was interesting. So in 2002, the average commission that was paid by a seller was 5.14%. Okay. In 2021, the average is 4.94. So that's a slight difference, meaning there's downward pressure on the total amount of commission that is being paid. So that doesn't change anything. To me, that's not a huge amount, right? From 5.14 to 4.9, it's a very small amount of downward pressure. But also understand that because of the billions of dollars that we are earning now more than ever. The other thing that I wanted to say, there's downward pressure on our commissions, but there is upward trending. Buyers and sellers are using realtors in 89% of the amount of transactions. What does that tell you guys? That tells me that we are more important than ever. I'm actually going to read you a quote. Okay, the quote is, 89% of consumers choose to rely on agents' expertise to navigate today's dynamics with more certainty. This percentage has continued to trend upwards in previous years, and there is good reason. Agents have invaluable local market knowledge and a personal touch that outweighs other methods available in today's complex real estate transaction. I thought that was fascinating, because essentially what all of that information that I just said is that there's a lot of money to be made. It says that there's downward pressure but it also says that more people are using us. Anybody have any comments or questions? I don't want to talk anymore. I want to open it up for you guys to talk. So I'd love to hear if anyone has any opinions on what I just said. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I'll talk. Oh, go ahead. You can go first.
All right, thank you. I was just going to say that, you know, the buyer representation versus seller representation and transaction broker. I mean, I could see where that is definitely a problem. And some states have already changed to being, you know, where you have to have that fiduciary relationship and in order to earn your commission. I mean, maybe that's the worst that will happen, and maybe that will clear things up a little bit.
Yes, agreed. Yanni, what were you going to say?
Yeah, so I agree 100% with just about everything you said. In particular, this is the time to make money and take advantage of this market. You know, there's a lot of unknown factors of what's going to happen in the next 18 to 24 months. So I think it's vital to everybody to go above and beyond. You know, this is the time to overwork and really put yourself out there, because we don't know what's going to come, and the coming could kind of slow us down where we will have additional time to kind of rest and relax. Right now, it's, you know, foot on the pedal. You have to grind every day. You have to put in the hours, and just keep in mind that, you know, you came into this career for a reason. There's a lot of opportunities, but the opportunities are made by the effort you put in. So I think you just have to keep going.
I love that. I absolutely agree. So I think that's a nice transition also. Part of what our, the title of today's meeting is, it's a top producer panel. So I wanted to give agents an opportunity to ask questions. So for anyone who's newer in the office, anyone that hasn't had any struggles or questions, if you have any questions about best practices or strategies that you guys can use, my goal for the next, 45, 50 minutes is to moderate the conversation for you. But I want you guys to really, speak up and ask questions, share with us what you're experiencing. Who wants to go first?
Well, I'll go first. I'm one of the newer agents. I'm in the office and I'm around Yanni, and I hear Courtney and I hear Kyle, and I'm learning stuff. What I need to learn is, I know how to pick up the phone, I know how to dial people, but what I need to learn how to is what the proper things to say. So I hear Yanni, I hear him prospecting, I get advice. Yesterday, I'm going on a listing today. Courtney was there. Courtney sat with me, gave me some advice. Yanni helped me. Courtney actually sat with me, showed me how to do stuff. No matter how many times I clicked on the wrong thing, and she was nice and patient. Last week, I was in the office and it was just me and Kyle. And Kyle was on the phone with one of his clients, and they were trying to put in offers on like 6 or 7 different houses. And I got an opportunity to listen to Kyle, how he handled it. And then I talked to him afterwards, but what I realized afterwards, I learned something I didn't know I needed to learn because I heard it in the office. So for me, being there and hearing and listening to all these guys / girls talking, that to me is what I need. I'm trying to figure out, I guess, the next step of how to properly service my clients and effective, efficient, and being around all of them and seeing how they do it helps me. Good, bad, I can hear stuff I know I don't want to say. And again, everything works for everyone else. But it gives me ideas. And then of course we can all piece that together and make it our own. But I learned different things from each one of them. So for me, being in the office with those guys is invaluable. So I would recommend that to anybody that's one of the newer agents, to get in there at least once or twice a week for a couple of hours and listen to them.
And one thing I want to point out, that is exactly how I got where I am. Where Kyle, Maria, all, you notice we're all in the office a lot of the time, and we're all the top producers in the office. So
yeah, and I think also the fact that it's a learning process that we go through, and you don't know what you don't know, but by being in the office, I've been in the office and I've had deals saved just because of the environment of everyone just talking together and just like spitballing ideas like, oh, so try this, Is it seller, do the sellers own the home? Oh, they do. Maybe try seller financing instead, only for a small little mortgage. So it's just by being around the conversation, by being around the industry of what people are doing and not being home, you're going to learn more. It's just going to naturally happen. So to follow up, yes, that's how I learned, by being in it and hearing conversations. And like you said, Mike, picking and choosing what you feel comfortable and what you don't feel comfortable saying. But you have to be in the environment in order to do it. Because at the end of the day, this is your career. You know, for a lot of us, this is what we do. So you have to fully immerse yourself in it to reap the benefits and the learning from it.
Yes, I thank you, Michael. That was great. That's great feedback. But I also want to say, just to play devil's advocate for a second, not everyone, for whatever reason, everyone is welcome, right? The office, there are desks everywhere and everyone is always welcome. However, if there is a reason why that can't happen, there are other ways, right? Other than, so yes, I agree, Kyle and Courtney and Michael, being in the office is fantastic. And I personally love it when the office is full, the energy is fantastic, there's great momentum. In addition to that, there are opportunities such as sync webinars. I personally listen to YouTube every single morning to get myself inspired and motivated. So I think all of this goes to say that in an industry as hard as ours, where it requires positivity in the face of constant rejection, it requires so much self-motivation, we all need as much as we can to stay on our game, whether it's being surrounded by others here in the office, whether it's by participating in trainings. But as an office, it is absolutely one of my priorities to create an environment that's positive, productive, and conducive to everyone's success. So thank you, Michael. That was a great point. Does anybody else have any questions for any other agents that you want to ask?
Sure, I do. And I, just to circle back to that point, I haven't been able to be in the office for the last few weeks. And I agree with Michael. There's definitely an energy and there's a lot to be learned listening to the other agents and how they handle their discussions with clients. And I know it's something that I'm missing and I'm going to make every effort to get into the office soon. I just have a couple of things I need to deal with here. But one of my big concerns at the moment, I've been able to, I know how to speak to a lead. I know how to capture a lead on Sync. But my big thing at the moment is I have like almost 40 leads and I'm trying to get them to showings to see properties. And I would love advice on what you think is the best method to get a lead from contact status to showing properties. So if anybody has advice on that, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, I could start a little bit and I'm sure everybody else will chime in. So, you know, there's a lot of factors that go into this. Number one, it could be the communication aspect that you're having with them. It could be the properties that you're sending to them. You know, you really need to understand exactly to see the type of property that they're looking for, because in the beginning days, I learned that I was just blindly sending a bunch of different properties. And if these properties don't match up to what they're looking for, they start kind of untrusting what you're doing and the business that you're providing, because maybe the active listening part wasn't there. I'm not saying that's the situation that you got into. So I tend to really focus into what their needs are and exactly what they're looking for. And I spend a lot of time deep diving into the MLS to ensure that I send maybe only like 5 to 8 properties that really match what they're looking for, which it's even hard to find 5 to 8 properties now that will match, right? So typically it's 3 or 4. And then I always put the sense of urgency. Look, we're trying to find you a property. We're trying to make a move. These are the only properties that are currently available. We can't trust pictures. Pictures usually tell 1,000 words, but they also lie 1,000 times. That's what I tell all of my buyers. So why don't we actually go and see these houses? You know, even if you might be thinking it's a waste of time, it might not be. It's going to give you the opportunity to learn about the neighborhood, see the different aspects of the house, and we can kind of communicate a little better in person. That might give you that opportunity to meet these people face to face, because once you get that initial visit, you tend to build more of a relationship, and then the trust and relationship begins, right? Because I have this problem, and listen, you're doing a great thing. The important thing is following up and nurturing. I've had a lot, I've got probably 90 to 100 people under my name, and I'm not showing to a lot of them, but I'll tell you that they respond periodically through emails. It's all about nurturing and following up. Out of the blue, these people are going to reach out to you, but you have to stay on top of it and just keep, putting in the hard work. And that's pretty much it. It also might be, the other thing I was going to mention is making sure you're not wasting your time, right? There are certain questions that you can ask, kind of like when you're trying to find out if the customer is well qualified. Let's say qualifying questions. You might want to qualify these people to ensure that they're serious about purchasing right now, because you might be wildly chasing these people and they're not buying for another 12 months or maybe a year and a half. So asking the right questions, which, if you want to call me offline at any point in time, and I'm sure you can call anybody else also, I can kind of tell you certain questions that might help you qualify them to make sure that you're spending valuable time on the right people. And if not, then you can spend that time a little well spent somewhere else.
So actually, Yanni, I'm going to make a note. I want to hear from some of the other people, but I do want to circle back to the qualifying questions, and let's see if we can talk about some of the ones that are most effective. Before I'm going to ask other guys to chime in regarding Howard's question, but I want to say one thing about something that I experienced when we first started Leads 5 or 6 years ago, Howard. And one thing that I had to train myself and educate myself on how to convert leads. And so I listened to every sync webinar I could. And one of the things that I heard over and over again was to ask for the appointment, ask for the face-to-face. And so a lead came in, literally, this is like one of the first leads that we ever got, like 6 years ago, I think. Her name was, what was her name? I can remember how she looked, but because what I did was, Howard, she wasn't ready. And I said, you know what the hell was her name? It was like Eileen or something like that. I said, Eileen, why don't you come into our office? I want to meet you face to face and talk about your criteria. And so I knew she wasn't ready, but I asked her to come in and we had a face-to-face connection. She ended up referring business to me. She never bought, but I helped friends of her buy. And so my only point being, Howard, is that depending on who you're speaking to, and sometimes you have a gut feeling, this person was well-spoken, they had a higher budget. I asked her to come in. I said, I know you're not ready, but I'd love to meet you. Why don't you, I'm in, at that point we were in a downtown Boca office, and I asked her to come into downtown Boca. She said it was convenient for her. And I asked for the face-to-face. And so in that experience, even though they weren't ready, by meeting her face-to-face, I was able to gain more referrals. So I guess the point I'm trying to make is that depending on who you're speaking to and and how well the conversation is going and your comfort level, and convenience as well, as far as are they local to you, you might say, hey, I'd love to meet you for a coffee, or, depending on where they are. Why don't we meet, somewhere on Atlantic Ave or in our office face to face so I can shake your hand or fist bump.
I had a similar situation, Jordana, where I met some people for coffee and they haven't bought anything yet, but I'm helping them with a rental and they have referred somebody to me as well. So that face-to-face was really valuable. It's a very valuable tool.
Yeah, and I think also, Howard, is that, one of the first things of sales is that always be closing, right? So by asking for that appointment, in a sense, you're kind of doing that. Psychologically, people, they are not going to be comfortable with you until they can actually see you and have that relationship. So maybe by bringing something up like, what, I found these nice properties. What are you doing Friday? Let's go take a look. I don't want them to be gone before the weekend. So let's go take a look on Friday. And what time are you free? By assuming that appointment, by assuming that sale, you're then tying them down into that appointment. So maybe try some of those tactics. Obviously, you want to first find out if if the buyers are serious, what their time frame is, if they're just looking just to look, or if they're actually active buyers. And if the ones that are active buyers, as Yanni said, you want to play up the urgency. Let them know, like, hey, if you like it, it's not going to be here tomorrow. So let's go take a look today. What's your time frame like? Use those kind of questions to get to it instead of asking like, hey, when are you free? Like, hey, what are you doing Friday? You see what I'm saying? So just kind of using those questions. Yeah.
So that was awesome because I think what you said kind of combined what Yanni was saying and what I was saying, in the sense that Yanni said to really hone in on finding the right properties based on their criteria. And then I said, ask for the appointment. And what Kyle's saying is kind of do both and say, hey, so my point being, and I recommend this to everyone, by the way, even if somebody's timeline maybe is further out, there's nothing wrong with setting up a showing or a coffee for now so that you can see them face to face, even knowing that they might not come back or they might not be ready, because when they are ready, they will be contacting you. So Maria, I think you were going to talk and then I had to mute you because we heard an echo. So I'm going to unmute you now, or maybe.
Let me unmute. Can you hear me?
Yeah, perfect. So I love your feedback, Maria.
So Howard, for me, it's very important the value that you give to somebody. I don't care if they're ready or they're not. One of my properties that I had under contract yesterday, I just did fill out the form. It's signed in 2019. I asked them to meet. I knew that they're not gonna buy, but I always wanna meet with them. Why? First, I wanna see if I wanna work with them first. And if they wanna work with me, that day I will get all the value that I can do it, like talk about everything that they need since the beginning. Now, when I do a search for my client, when I ask questions, I do ask for many questions, but including if they have pets, some little details that then I look at the properties and I say, hey, listen, this home has a fence. This is perfect for you. I know you're not ready. Let's go see it. And I'm not pushy. I don't want them to buy because I know they're not ready, but I will meet them. One thing that it works for me is not, and it's been working very well, all my closings lately, I don't do any more alerts. It depends on the client that they go by them, send them. I preview mode. I know I work harder, double, but I just want to send the right property. So I make sure I even go and take a look at the property. I'm closing Thursday at 800,000 home just because I did not put them in a automatic alert. I did it for myself. I went to see the home and I said, this is the home where you can walk to the synagogue. Listen, I'm not Jewish. I don't even. I went there. I learned about where are the synagogues. I learned not only in Boca and Cooper City, which is not usually, my area. So for me, calls are very important, yes, but value, what can you give to that buyer or seller, to me is more important than anything else. And
So Maria, how are you making like 400 plus calls a week when you have so much going on? Like, do you have someone making your calls for you?
Like I told you, when I go for, you always see me, I usually in the office, but I'm usually outside in the field. One of my first brokers, he told me, if you're in the office all day, you're not doing real estate. You have to be, one of the important things that I announced in the beginning, I went to every development. That's why I know a lot about developments, because I want to be knowledge. I can't talk. I'm the person who I cannot talk about something if I don't know what it is. I don't know if I didn't know the Olympics high school is whatever the right. So you have to learn what is the school, what is the something. I went yesterday, listen to this. I went yesterday to pick up lunch and Papa's Tapas. The waitress is a realtor. I've been trying to, bring her here. She said, I hate real estate. And I'm like, what's going on? She did some mistakes. And I was like, wow. She said, I'm a beginner. My broker never helped me. This happens to me. First, I went with this Brazilian lady who I couldn't open the Supra key. And she was, of course, screaming on me. Then listen to this big mistake she did. She showed her a property that is 55 and she was all ages. So I was listening to her and I'm like, yeah, if you don't know, you're gonna, these mistakes are gonna come and come. So you really need to learn before you start, there is a lot of things that you have to do.
But Maria, how do you squeeze it all in? So I agree. You have to be knowledgeable. You have to educate yourself. You have to empower yourself. It's part of why, you guys hear me and we're constantly scheduling meetings like this and role playing and Q&A. all of that is empowering to help you guys have that knowledge so that you're not getting stuck in situations like Maria just explained. But with all of that being said, Maria, how do you do it? How do you get your high call count?
This is how I do it. Well, I don't have babies anymore, even if my husband, if my husband and my kids could be babies, but this is what I do. And I guess I told you this before. I go for showings. I usually have showings or previews. Like today I have 2 previews, 1 showing. In the middle, instead of coming to the office, I park in a Publix, anywhere where I can be away from. I open my iPad and start making calls and following up. And that's how I make so many phone calls. But when Jordana teaches something, I listen, because she knows, she's very knowledge. Jordana knows a lot, plus she is a coach, and the coach is, telling her. So we really need to set up a time for calls. If I cannot do it in the morning, then I do it at 5 o'clock or at 7 or at 3. I don't have a time really, because if I have something in the morning, so I do call from my car. Sometimes I'm driving, sometimes I park. I do make my calls.
So one thing that I hear, Maria, and that I think is a part of that answer, correct me if I'm wrong, it sounds to me that that's a habit. So Katerina, I think the answer is it's a habit that you are so used to at this point because we've been doing it for so long, and I've been kind of hammering it in as far as the importance of making those phone calls no matter what. So it's kind of the same idea as any other habit. For those of you that, work out daily, when on days when you don't work out, it's like, whoa, I didn't work out today. It kind of feels a little bit different. It's kind of the same when it comes to your phone calls. The phone calls are going to lead you to have a successful business, just like working out every day is going to lead you to be fit. It's not something that you do once and then you're done. It's constant every day. So Maria is so committed to her habit and to her goals that no matter where she is, whether she's in the car, in Publix, or anything else, her workday is not complete until she gets in that time on the phone. So
I even do that on Sundays. Even you see me maybe I go to the beach on Sundays sometimes I can. I even call before I go to the beach. I make sure that I call at least my attendants and my following, even if on Sunday. It's just part of my life now, I guess. Yeah.
So I think it almost becomes easier when it is part of your life, Katerina, in the sense that like it's kind of like you get so used to it and it's just part of your habits that you're working on. I also think what I think might be helpful for you guys is to remember that you're all running your own businesses. Mm-hmm. We operate as a team and we all are helping each other. We're supporting each other. We're providing opportunities to each other. But at the end of the day, each and every one of you is running your own business. You have to take personal responsibility. I cannot even tell you how many times I've heard people say, blame it on the leads, blame it on other things that are happening in their life. At the end of the day, each of you must take responsibility for your own production. It's the only one that is to blame, so to speak, is you. The only one to blame for Maria's success is Maria, really. Mm-hmm. I mean, she's the one who's doing it no matter what. And so all of you guys are very lucky in a sense that number one, you have people to call. You have a database of people to call. You have an entire team of support, everyone on this phone call right now. You have me, leaders, everyone else. We're all here. I'm here rooting each and every one of you on, as well as all 25 of these people on this phone call today. And so you're running your own business, but you're doing it in an environment of so much other support and success. So what I learned a lot from that, Maria, and thank you so much for sharing. I learned, go ahead, Brandy.
It's kind of related. I'm kind of having like the same issue as Howard. So like my first question is, a lot of the leads that I've converted to my name, that I've had good conversation with, they're out of state. So the in-person meeting I can't do. So I wanted to see like, how do you build that loyalty? I mean, I do have some really good relationships with some of them, but some of them it's more of like, I see them looking at things, I follow up, and then they just never respond again. So what do you do when you have great conversations with someone and they disappear on you? And how do you build the relationships with people that you can't meet with in person?
Have you tried FaceTiming with them?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was-
asking them for FaceTime, because I do that a lot with my clients that I've never met. We do a FaceTime and just sit here and say, hi, nice to meet you. And it
Yeah,
gets,
I've tried to do the FaceTime. The only thing I haven't done, and I don't know if it makes a difference, is the auto track video. Like, I don't know if that's like I mean, is that really successful for a lot of you guys, or?
Yeah,
So-
what do you guys think about that? Is
My
anyone
auto track video is what captured Kurian, my $3 million deal.
real? So wait, Nicola, that's interesting. So he responded to you because of your auto track video?
So when I had attempted to call him a few times, he never picked up the phone. So once the way that I have it set up on my sync is as soon as I put the buyer attempted contact, it triggers my buyer attempted contact video to go out to any of the leads. So as soon as he watched the video, he actually responded and he's like, oh, thank you. He's like, I'm working with my financial advisor in South Florida, and they're going to be recommending a realtor to me. And I was like, oh, well, that's awesome. I was like, well, here's my website. Check out all of my ratings. And if you have any questions, we can move forward. And then as soon as I said that, and I gave him the link to ratemyagent.com, and he read all of my reviews and stuff like that, he started responding. He's like, okay, well, this is what I'm looking for. And just went from there.
I love that, Nicola. And so Brandy, I think part of what I heard you say, Nicola, is the answer is yes, the videos help. And for those of you that don't know, you can record a quick video where you say, and I'd love to hear, Nicola, what you say in yours.
Yeah, me too.
That will give somebody they'll put the face, to your email. So Nicola, what do you say in your attempted video?
maybe she can send it to us too.
You know what? I created it a while ago. Whenever we first started doing that, I'm sure I say something along the lines of, hi, this is Nicola with Premier Listings. You registered on my website looking for homes and wherever. And, I'm interested to find out about all of your real estate needs. Please give me a call or text back. And my numbers and my signature, or I say something along those lines. And I keep it short, simple, and to the point.
Okay.
So I had to tell you guys that I'm a really big believer in workflow automations. It's something that for those of you that are working with me like closely, like Max and Bridget, I'm really interested in automating things. And so to circle that back, what Nicola just said is that she's automated the process of putting her face in front of her clients. And so Brandy, my recommendation would be to push yourself. It's uncomfortable getting it. I personally do not like being in front of the camera. You guys see me, I'm always in front of the camera and I don't like it, but I am because I know that it works and it's effective. And so my recommendation would be to push yourself, come into the office, do it here. There's some great backgrounds that other people can use.
I asked Bridget about it last week because I just felt like it was something I should probably do.
Yeah, if you're not currently using videos in your sales process, I 1,000,000% encourage you to do it. Take your phone and say, hi, this is Jordana. I look forward to helping you with all of your real estate needs. I am a full-time real estate professional here in South Florida. And that's all you got to say. And in Nicola's case, that was able to help her engage with a lead that closed over $3 million, 3.3, whatever that was. I mean, that's pretty damn impressive, right? So it's worth it.
I actually was inspired by Roni's videos when we all started that, and I watched Roni's videos. I'm like, oh my gosh, it looks like an infomercial. Oh, I was like, that's amazing.
So this goes back to what I was. Oh, sorry. Let me mute. Okay. When I started the call, I spoke about the billions of dollars that are being paid right now to realtors, and so to me, it's the same. I don't know why I have the same feeling when it comes to video. And what I mean by that is that it's right in front of us. Like all of us have a phone that has the capability of recording a video. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to have makeup on. For those of you that watch my Instagram and I put stories, I'm never fully made up, or my hair is usually all over the place. It doesn't really matter. What matters is the message, and what matters is that people start to know you and feel comfortable with you. So does anybody else, anyone who has had success engaging with out-of-town clients, other than the video, so Brandy, that was a great question, but I think you also were wondering, what are some things that we can do to successfully engage and create the relationship with people that aren't local?
I wanted to add something to that before I lose my train of thought, but you know, it's not just about sending the listings, but you're an expert in that area, and you know, try to find out what their interests are, and you know, sorry, and try to send them information, you know, provide that that they need for the area. You know, give them something, not just trying to send them listings, you know, whether it's an activity or sports, they want to know golf courses, where there's tennis courts, or, you know, libraries, or I don't know, sports for the kids or whatever, but send them information, hook up with different businesses in the area that maybe are offering some incentive, and, you know, some restaurants you'd recommend when they do come down to look, and things like that, so that you come across as a real expert in the area that you're covering.
Yeah, and to that point, you know, Jordan and I spoke about this some time ago, but in talking to these clients, these buyers, we want to talk to them. Yeah, we want to talk to them as a professional, but we also want to talk to them as kind of like a friend. And like, we want to, you're going to like somebody that you're talking to, instead of just like robotic, like what's your search, da 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 da. But like, hey, so what do you guys like to do? You know, like what do you want to do for fun? Let me just figure out an area that you guys want to be in, and what do you like to do? Go, great restaurants here. I think you'd be perfect over here. Just by breaking down that barrier, I think would make people more open and help build that rapport.
So I want to add two things to that. I totally agree, Kyle. So do you know that it's actually human nature, human psychology, that when you see people, when you see people frequently and often, you will naturally start to like them, which I thought was really interesting. Like, meaning if you see the same person every day, you're going to eventually start to like them. Like, to me, I'm like, really? But it's actually true. And so so to me, what that means, and just like Kyle said, we want to be friendly, we want to interact in a personal way. I love what you said, Lori, about sending them restaurant recommendations, because at the end of the day, this is a people business, right? And they're going to work with you and call you back because they enjoyed working with you. So so the first thing is, when I said the thing about being in front of them more often, I think what will happen is they will naturally start to feel more comfortable. That was the first thing, and I forgot the second thing now. Forget that. All right. Go ahead.
Can I
Danny.
something
Yeah.
else? Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, go
Danny.
ahead, Maria. I'll go after you. It's okay.
I'd say like some of the things that I do with my clients that they are out of state, and this year I closed already 2 that they never saw the property. I actually go to the property, not only to the property, I go to the clubhouse. If they don't want, some people don't like to do Zoom, but I always send the videos, always, and put something nice, talk about the neighborhood and everything. So that helps me a
Wait,
lot.
what video? You said a video of you or the video of the property?
No, videos of the property and here, and I'm talking in the video saying, you know, they have a lot of closets, look this pantry, and go to the clubhouse, and they always comment, oh my God, yeah, see, this is what I want. If you see something else, then I go to it, and that's how I close actually the deals. They're not even here for the closing. I did everything for them.
I want to interrupt for 1 second and say about the video, one thing that I want to recommend that you do, Maria, that I think will help you even more is, in addition to showing them the area and the clubhouse, I really can't stress to you guys enough how important it is to turn that camera around and make sure they see you. When they see you, it's that human psychology that they're more comfortable because they see you. And I know that it's a little bit uncomfortable for us sometimes, but Maria, what I want you to start doing, because I know that you do videos of the areas, and I also know that you don't put your face in front of it. I do think that your numbers will go even higher if you add a little bit of that. And for those of you that aren't doing video marketing, it's a combination of what Maria just said, which is videoing the clubhouse and the community. Maybe send that video first. And then the second video is you saying, hey, I hope you enjoyed that tour. Let me know if you have questions. And it doesn't have to be complex or long or rehearsed or practiced. It could just be quick. Let them see you. Anyway, I interrupted you. So sorry. Go ahead, Maria.
Something else that I remember before I forgot. I respond to every text, email, or call in the next 24 hours, always. And I always say to my clients, and one of my clients, that one from California, that I'm going to actually rent the house now, it's about $6,000, the house that they just bought. She says to me, Maria, I have like 14 realtors, but you're the only one who actually return my text. Because they're in California, I didn't care if 11 o'clock I was texting, and she was like, wow. So this is very important for me. Following up, responding is very important. And it helped me a lot.
So can I go back to that video track? And how do you set it up, but at what point do you first send out that video track? Nicola, I think you said it was after you attempted contact, but then you didn't get it, then you sent it out? Like, how many calls should I make to a lead before I send it out? I want to just send it out immediately.
I mean, you can, because I think there's like a time, I don't know, maybe like an hour or two before the video actually gets sent to them. I don't know. I'm gonna have to check on that.
You call them
usually
once or twice?
I'll
Or
call
6
like 3 times. I'll call like 3 times, and I'll put the attempted label on, and it triggers the video, when it does. So,
Awesome.
So there are different ways to do it. Nicola, do you have a video that you send to every lead?
I have to go in because, again, it was a
Right.
while ago, so I don't really remember. I have to go in and see all my videos that I have there. But I have several. I know I have at least 5 or 6 that I made.
And the reason why, Nicola, correct me if I'm wrong, but a while ago, I think I either required it, but we created different steps, Jessica, where we recommended videos. I actually there are 7 videos, and I have little scripts. They're all maybe 1 sentence, 2 sentences. But let's take this moment to actually think about, as a consumer, what's going to be the most positive experience. And so in this case, Nicola is explaining that she remembers that when she puts the attempted drip, they get a video from her. But let's think about, even take a step further back and think about, if you registered on a site and you're looking to buy real estate, why not, as a consumer, if I get a video from you, Jessica, that says, hey, it's Jessica, I'm a full-time realtor in South Florida. I look forward to helping you with all of your real estate needs. I'm probably going to feel more comfortable when you call me because I now know you. I've seen your face. So that's something that I think all of us can do. I will send everyone on this call a script of all of those 7 videos. It's my opinion that there are many stages. And Nicola, I think this actually might be a good time for you to look and say, when are my videos being sent out, and should I add more? Now that we know that you were able to engage successfully and a very big lead, it's something that it's worth going back in and looking at it. And if you're not doing video, this is outside of your comfort zone, and that's exactly where I want all of you to be. All of us will grow when we are outside of our comfort zone. And I know that the video is not such an easy thing to do.
So can I say a couple things?
Yeah.
All right. In regards to engaging with a lot of these buyers from out of state or even out of the country, Canada, for example, right? What has worked for me, so going through steps, number 1, you want to qualify them, right? Because there's a lot of out-of-state buyers right now that they're not really buyers. They've thought about it, they're checking the market in Florida, but they're not moving, and they're not going to move anytime soon. So you got to ask and make sure, hey, how soon are you looking to make a move? Once you establish that, you ask the right questions. What are you looking for? What are your needs? Do you have kids? Is it school systems? Is it location, 55 plus, whatever it may be? Great. That's ammunition that you have to fire back out with them, right? Right after that, I sell myself. And here's why you have to sell yourself. The minute you hang up that phone call, you are not the only agent that's calling them. The minute they go on Zillow, Realtor.com, Redfin, the competition is on. You're going to have other realtors that are also professionals trying to win the business. So that first impression verbally over the phone is going to be the one that needs to make an impact. How do I sell myself? Well, it's very simple. If you told me you have kids, oh, by the way, I want to let you know, I am a full-time realtor, right? This is my career. I'm very knowledgeable of what's going on down here in the market, and I get all of my buyers under contract. So I want you to understand this, because the competition is huge and there's a lot of part-time realtors that they're blindly sending offers, and you're going to miss out on opportunities. That's number one. Number two, I live in Boca. You're looking in Boca. I understand the location, the neighborhoods, and the school systems. They are all A-rated, and I can get you some more information on that. Okay. The other thing I can do for you is video calls, showings. What does that mean? I go to the property, I call you on FaceTime or Zoom, and you want to make sure you kind of clarify that, because if I tell somebody, oh, I do video tours, they might just think, oh, you're just going to send me videos of the properties. No, I'm going to go there. I'm going to call you. It's going to be live. We're going to go through every aspect of the house as if I was buying my own house. And I tell them, I'm very thorough. You are working with the right person, right? You got to kind of start selling yourself. Even if this information is true or not, stretch the truth, sell yourself so you can make that impression. And then what do? Immediately start sending them properties. And after I send it, I text them, hey, I just sent you properties. Let me know which you like so I can understand the styles that you're looking for. Right? This is very important to show them that you're really paying attention. Hey, you told me you wanted a contemporary looking house. I've sent you some contemporary, but because there's not a lot in the market, I also sent some, European looking ones or whatever you want to call them. Right? And then let them know whichever house you like, let me know right away so I can schedule an appointment and schedule the appointment and follow through with it. But it's all about setting that first impression, because I've had problems where, I speak to out-of-state buyers, conversation goes well, and then they disappear. That happens. Somebody else probably called, they made a better impression than I did. We're not robots, we're not perfect, things are going to come up. But if you build that habit of qualifying, asking the right questions, focusing on those questions, selling yourself, and setting the right expectations, you're going to have a higher probability that they're going to go ahead and kind of work with you. And I always tell them at the end of our conversation, by the way, do me a favor. I'm going to text you my business card now. I always text them my business card with my contact information. Go ahead and save my number on your phone, because I'm going to follow up with you and you will know exactly who it is, because I'm going to be your agent. And that's it.
So I think that you made some really, really important points, Yanni, and I want to break it down a little bit. That was fantastic. Thank you so much. So first off, I want to say that the point that you made about selling yourself is so critical. And here's what I mean. I'm gonna do 2 quick role plays with you. And the first one, I'm not going to say much about me. And the second one I am. And you guys, I want you to see how you feel, what the experience is and from your perspective. So the first time I might say, hi, it's Jordana. I saw you registered on my site. What are you looking for? How can I help you with your search? Type of thing. Okay, the second one, I'm going to say, hi, it's Jordana. I see you registered on our site. I want you to know I'm a full-time realtor. I specialize in making sure that buyers have smooth, stress-free transactions. How can I help you? Which one did you feel better? Which one gave you a warmer feeling? The first one or the second one? Second, right? And so I did that just in one sentence, and that's not what I want you to do. But what I do want you to do, like Yanni said, is at some point in the early part of the conversation or in the early part of the relationship, I want you to stop and I want you to make it a point to say, by the way, let me tell you more about me. I am whatever it is you are, right? And you can also rely on the team as well. So if you guys haven't, when we hang up the phone, when we hang up the Zoom meeting, I want you to Google Premier Listings. There is an enormous amount of positivity around the company. And you can use that to your benefit. You can say things, and if you don't have a huge amount of experience, you can say, I'm a full-time licensed professional. This is what I do all day. I love making sure that my clients find great properties. Nowhere in there, that what I just said, is there anything about how much I've sold or, my volume? You don't worry about that. If you're newer and you don't have that kind of experience to share. Instead, say things like, you're full-time, you are licensed, your goals, right? My goal is to be the person to represent you and make sure your transaction goes smoothly. My goal is to negotiate on your behalf and make sure that you get the best deal you possibly can. My goal is to represent you. State your goals early on. For those of you that, if it's been a while since you've done my 5-part buyer strategy, in the 5-part buyer strategy, where you're having your first phone call with the lead, one of the first things that I teach is to identify who you are and why you're calling, right? So I'm Jordana, I'm a full-time realtor. My goal is to be the one to represent you when you buy your home in South Florida. So they don't know, you might be sitting in a call center. They don't know that you're the actual realtor. And that's an important point as well. So I don't know if you guys realize this, there are a lot of organizations like Redfin and Zillow that will make calls to leads, and that person is a clerk, meaning they are an hourly employee. They are not licensed professionals. You are taking your time. You are a licensed professional. So you are not calling to then pass it to somebody else. You are calling yourself. And that I want you to make that point and say, I'm the one that wants to represent you, not, oh, let me set you up with somebody on my team. And because that's what Zillow is saying. That's what Redfin is saying. So you are actually making those calls and putting the work in. So selling yourself, Yanni, that was a very important thing that you said. The other thing that I think Maria said is being immediate. So if a lead texts you, emails you, or calls you, you better be right there answering that call or text or calling them right back. You better be dropping everything. That's something that is so ingrained in me. I'm not even selling anymore, but right now I'm getting all the notifications on my phone from the pond, and I am, no matter what time of day, I am immediately reply. No, I drop everything because I know that lead needs to be responded to quickly. The third thing I want to say, somebody had asked about what to do when somebody ghosts or they no longer reply to you. I want to remind you about our assumption text. And the assumption text is when you text or email somebody and say, you know, so-and-so, we had a great conversation. You know, when we spoke, 3 months ago, should I assume you're no longer looking? And that will get people to reply. The other thing I want to say before I forget, Jessica, back to what you were saying about the videos, there are a couple of options that I want to remind you guys. You can set it up automatically to trigger based on status. You can also create a template. And and it's a private template, no one else will see your video. And what you can do is when you can manually use that template, that email or text template, when you feel that you're ready to send it out. So just have it in there, recorded, pre-recorded and ready to go, so that when you have a conversation with somebody, you can actually trigger it manually rather than auto trigger.
I have one more question. When you get new leads and they're not picking up, they don't answer the phone. I know you're supposed to call 6 times, I know this, I've watched the training. Do you guys ever leave voice messages?
No.
No.
Never. All
I
right.
have.
I don't
I have
recommend
before
it.
because-
I personally don't recommend it.
I have before, because at the end of the day, I think about it like this. If you've called a bunch of times, just like me, if I get a phone call from a number that I don't know 5, 6 times, and they don't leave a message, then I'm gonna think to myself, it's not that important. Why call me if you're not gonna leave a message? And that's really the only reason why I'll leave a message time to time, is because I think about it from my perspective, that if I get a phone call throughout the week 6, 7, 8, 9 times and no messages, and somebody finally leaves a message, then I'm gonna think, oh yeah, I was trying to get a hold of somebody about a house. So, and
then
it
what do
has
you
worked for
say?
me.
What would you
Oh.
say in that message?
Oh, hey, Mr. Buyer, this is Kyle over at Premier Listings. I noticed that you registered on the home search site looking for property. Try getting a hold of you a couple of times, but I wanted to really talk and see what it is that you're looking for in a property. Please feel free to give me a call. My number is 954 da 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 da.
I really don't want, I really would prefer for you guys not to leave voicemails. I understand, Kyle, I understand your perspective, and I get it, but we have to also be relatively data driven about some of our decisions. This is a data driven decision that it's like more times than not, people will not reply to a voicemail. And so I understand, Kyle, and that's absolutely a perspective. But again, the data tells us not to leave voicemails until you are communicating with them. Rather than a voicemail, I would say, the AI is texting for us. So you could text, but I don't I would rather no voicemails until you actually are interacting and have an established relationship.
Wouldn't that be a good time to use the voice video and to send an email with the video attached? I
Yes.
mean, because then they can see you and then they might put a name and a face to that phone number that's calling. And I think that's the perfect situation to send the video in an email.
We can also, by the way, you guys realize we're currently paying for us to be able to send videos through text as well. So you can send videos through text in Sync, and you can send videos through email, and both you can save templates that are pre-recorded to make it that much easier for you. If you don't know how to do it, call Sync and ask. There's a 1-800 helpline that will call them. You can message, you can watch recordings on it. So we only have a couple minutes left. Sorry, was somebody else gonna say something?
I was just gonna add on there, at the bottom, if you're using the Sync app, you would, I forget what's the option there. It's like more options or something, like a tab that says more options where you can call, email, HTML email or something, and video. Like it says like in the new, and like contact lead at the bottom there, the bottom left, you have the option video text, which is new, call, text, HTML email, or plain email. So, and it lets you record, I think, up to like a minute, if I'm not mistaken, something like that, 45 seconds. So yeah, you can definitely fit in a short video on there, and it lets you add a little message at the bottom there before sending.
Thank you, Juan. And if you don't know how to do it, you guys, it's up to you to empower and educate yourself. Yeah, I'm a really big believer in video marketing. Or anybody else, I would love to get some more questions in. It's almost been an hour, but I would love to get a couple more questions. Anybody else have any questions?
Yanni, are you wearing your new shoes?
I am not wearing my new shoes, but I do want to share that this buyer, we did everything through FaceTime. They were from New York. They never came down.
Wow.
And you know how let me tell you how I engage with them, since we were just in this topic quickly. They didn't answer my calls as a new lead. I always send an email right after I call them 1 or 2 times and they don't answer. This is an email I shared with my team. They've been using it, and a lot of people have responded. As soon as they responded through email, that's when we got on the phone and we did the whole process through FaceTime. They still have not come down. I'm actually holding the key for them because they're going to be here in August. And you know,
But how
you
do
go
they
above
know
and
your
beyond.
style? Those shoes
Well,
are
he
so-
asked me, he said, look, you know, if you don't mind me asking, what's your shoe size? I work in the shoe industry. I'm like, no, I mean, if it's sneakers, a 10, if it's loafers, maybe 9.5. He's like, all right, I might send you a present. I'm like, look, you don't have to, but if you do, thank you. I thought he would send me like some regular $40, $50 loafers, and then I get this box from Louis Vuitton. I'm like, all right, you know, let me.
That's
So for
awesome.
those of you guys that don't know, in the in-office chat, Yanni sent this beautiful red. I love the color. I'm so into
I know,
color.
yeah.
So, and they're so cool. They fit your style so well. So his client sent him these beautiful designer loafers, which I love.
I have a question. I've heard, I haven't been selling real estate so much, and what I hear is that, you know, multiple offers, you know, what are you doing today as top producers to make sure your offer gets in front of the seller? What little techniques are you using? What do you think the secret is to making sure your offer stands out amongst the other offers?
I can go if nobody
Okay.
else is going.
I'll go.
Okay.
I make a relationship with the listing agent. I call the listing agent, ask questions about the property. I ask questions if they've gotten other offers, as much, so I can get as much information, but I'm also sliding my way into their, putting that foot through the door, because that relationship totally helps. Totally. So because they're going to be getting a ton of offers, and they need to go, oh, Courtney, I spoke to her. I recognize her. Another thing I do is I have like an email template that I use that basically high levels my offer. So I think of these people, as a CEO, you have this big presentation, but you have to have that high level slide, because that's all they really care about. They want to know the high level stuff. So I high level everything that's in the offer, all the important things. I also introduce the lender if there's a lender involved. And then the other day I have a client that she's putting like $100,000 down. So I called the lender and I said, hey, is there a way we can get a waiver for the appraisal? And she's like, I will definitely put that out there. And so I put in the offer. I've spoken to the lender. She's going to attempt to get a waiver, the appraisal waived. So that was something that really stood out to them. So we were in the top. The only reason we didn't get it is because a cash offer swooped in. But otherwise we were in the, they were between us and another one going back and forth. But because I laid it all out, it was just, this is the offer. These are all the things we can do.
Other things that you can do, other things you can do, Laura, you can just ask what's most important to the seller. And if they tell you, for example, they want, the seller wants the appraisal to be waived, or that's a big one in today's market. If your client is willing to have their offer
That being done a lot. I mean, those are the things I always did, was get to know the listing agent, you know, sell your client, tell them what more about them, introducing the mortgage broker. That's excellent, you know, but waiving appraisals, because I understand that's a big issue right now. So is that something that's being done often? And, you know, what mortgage brokers do you know that you work with? That would be very important for me to know, that will do things like that.
So we have a partner lender that we work with, Mike Maneri, and his team. There's a number of them. You'll learn more about it once you complete your training. They also, on Thursday, they come to the Q&A. And so we have a Thursday Q&A session where agents can ask questions, and we can, by the way, continue this conversation. If you're an agent that has questions and you're not showing up to the Q&As on Thursdays, you're doing yourself a disservice by not showing up to that quick meeting. Regarding the appraisal question, Lori, I'll tell you that either yes, there are clients that are willing to waive the appraisal if they have enough cash. The second thing that people are doing is they're putting in a number, and they're saying that their clients are willing to pay out of pocket, you know, up to $10,000 over appraised value. And that way, if it comes in low, the seller knows it won't be reduced, but it'll only be reduced to a certain point.
Okay.
So it's been exactly an hour. I don't want to go over too much. I want to thank everyone for participating. I think this was really, did you guys like this format for the meeting?
Yes.
Yeah,
Awesome.
very much.
Loved it. Maria wanted to say something though.
Let me unmute you, Maria. Wait, hold on, we can't hear you.
Pretty much what she was saying was just shortening the terms. If it's a 30-day, then, you know, try to do 21 day for the loan commitment. Are you?
Work with a full inspector and do five days inspection, things like that.
Work with a good inspector, 5-day inspection. I don't know if you guys could hear her.
Wise Homes.
Yeah, we can hear her.
Okay.
There she is.
Don't forget to ask what offers are currently on the table, guys. Very important. They're not going to tell you price, but if you ask the right questions, they're going to get very close to that price for you. So I ask, do you have offers at asking currently?
They always gonna say yes.
Yes. Well,
Always gonna say yes.
yeah, they're always going to say yes, but kind of try to, you know, ask, get an idea, because if there's a multiple offer situation on the table and they say, look, all I can tell you is you got to come above asking. Okay, well, how close above asking? I mean, is it a little bit above asking, or do I really have to send like a very strong offer above asking? Like, and again, you don't know if they're telling the truth or not, but in this market, you know, these are facts. I mean, they have above asking. So, you know, once you build that relationship, I've had agents tell me, look, we're a little bit above asking. Okay, now I know you're probably 5,000 above asking, or maybe 3,000. So maybe if I come in 7,000 above asking, and I tell them, if I come in like 7,000 above asking, how does that sound? And they'll tell you, well, you know, that sounds pretty good. Send the offer. So it depends.
Yeah,
you just gotta ask around.
That's great advice. I say the same thing. I ask, if I come in at 5,000 over, will I get it? Like, be straightforward. The more direct you are when it comes to negotiations, often the more impact you'll have. And in this market, we have to be direct in order to make sure we're representing our buyers in the best way that we can, to make sure that they get their deals, right? Okay, guys, thank you guys so much for participating, and we will absolutely do this again soon. I am not here for the next 2 weeks, so there are no sales meetings for the next 2 weeks. There are a lot of things that we are working on, some exciting things that are coming up. I forgot to tell you guys one other thing about speaking of buyer psychology, is that it's really critical that when you're working with a buyer, there's a psychology behind giving somebody something, whether it's a bottle of water or a folder with printouts. Something that we are working on here, Bridget's going to do these fantastic handouts, similar to the handouts for those of you that came to the Drive Shack event. And we have those great handouts for agents that are considering joining us. We're going to give similar handouts to our buyers that are going to explain why they should work with the buyer. I'm sorry, why they should work with the realtor. What happens if they buy from a development, from a builder directly. So those are some cool things that we are working on. So again, I'm not going to be here over the next 2 weeks. You guys shouldn't, Bridget's going to text me to make sure everyone's processing commissions quickly. So don't worry too much about that. There are a lot of leaders in this office, so you can rely on your leaders if I'm not available. And I think that's it. Yeah. So if you guys need me, let me know. Otherwise, enjoy the next 2 weeks. I'm heading out of town on Thursday morning. And I'm not back in the office until Wednesday, the 28th. I'm going to Santa Fe on a bike trip. So follow me on Instagram, and I'm going to post a lot of my my hikes and my bikes.
You're riding your bike to Santa Fe?
I'm riding my bike to Santa Fe. No, I'm not. I'm flying to Santa Fe, and then I'm getting on a bike, and I'm going to. I've been training for this, you guys. I'm going to be biking throughout these like beautiful mountainous views and stuff like that. We have some really cool things planned. So follow my trip on Instagram.
Enjoy.
Enjoy.
Awesome.
Yeah, have a great time.
Thank you guys. Thank you for a great call.
Bye. Thank
later.
Thank you for organizing.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Howard. It's your idea.